Listen, anyone let the finery be. I'm just kidding, we all G. I link up with Busy, got the same damn seat in the V, and we driving up. I don't slip no in the same polo. I don't sing very often, but these days I don't know.
We got a very special broadcast for y'all. Hip Hop Festival interview, Notes from Underground, the one and only radio station on WKCR.
Yes, sir. So shit, without further ado, we want to get into this interview. Shit, we want to kick us off. Alright, so big change. I mean, you came on NFU before, right? Last time it was Dylan interviewing. Shout out Dill. Dill's actually in the house. Say what's up to the mics even though you're far away.
Yo.
I know y'all missed that voice. Shout out Dylan. But anyway, last time you were here, man, you spoke about the fact that you went by Industrial Dre at the time. And you were like, yeah, I considered Andre Lawrence, went with Industrial Dre. So what sparked that change? I'm curious.
That what you're talking about was definitely like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I think.
It was right before.
I think that like at the time I was just like trying to come up with something cool, and I was rolling out that album, and I was like all about the industrial shit, and I was putting it before everything, and it was my Instagram username, and I was just like, Industrial Denim by Industrial Dre would be
Makes
pretty
sense.
cool. And then eventually I was like, wow, I want to be a really big legendary artist, and I'd rather it just like be my real name, which sounds infinitely cooler than Industrial Dre, in my humble opinion.
Bro, shit.
It's a dope name for sure. It's a dope name for sure.
I hope.
You know, we wanted to ask you, who are your inspirations? You know, are there artists outside of just music that have inspired you or influenced you, or that you really fuck with? Just
outside of music?
Yeah, completely outside, like other mediums.
Other mediums, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. I think that like Jackson Pollock's pretty cool. Like,
yeah.
I think that like I've been to his house in the Springs,
Long
Island, and I've always thought that Jackson Pollock was super dope. He just like was out here barefoot splattering paint onto canvas, had no recognition, was a drunk, and ended up being like one of the most renowned artists ever. So he's pretty awesome.
Facts.
I think that like my grandmother like killed a bunch of Nazis in the Holocaust, and she was like a war hero.
Shout out your grandma.
Shout out grandma.
Big inspiration. Great. If one may call her an artist,
Definitely.
she was an artist of espionage.
Bro, she was painting the ground red.
She was an art. Nah. I wouldn't. I don't want to say that, but she was definitely a good spy. They gave her a lot of props. Shout out to her. Shout out Vincent Van Gogh. Shout out, bro. Low key, I went to the MoMA recently. The Met. And the concept of like sculptures has really been fucking with me lately. Like,
Type shit.
they really just like used to just take marble cubes and just like carve out human,
They were good at
like
that shit too.
detailed naked human beings.
Yeah.
Michelangelo, he was carving that shit.
Bro, for like days. I don't know. That shit is like
Martin's
insane.
low key.
Yeah, I like a lot of skaters. Tyshawn Jones killing it right now. Cater killing it right now. Eric Costin, GOAT.
Definitely.
I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
I like musicians more though, for sure.
No, speaking back to like Industrial Denim, it's crazy. Like, your release party, the listening party that you had,
Facts.
like downtown New York, it's
V-Files.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I like just remembered the other day that I was at that shit.
Word?
Yeah, bro, I was there. I was supporting Arlo, your
Lit.
producer Arlo. Yeah, and,
Lit.
like, and so I just wanted to like ask like, how do you feel like you've evolved as an artist since that point? It's been like 2-3 years now.
I mean, like a lot. Like I think that then I was like really getting my feet wet. I was like getting really comfortable rapping, and I loved like soul samples and Just Blaze, and just like super inspired by a certain era and pocket of beats and hip hop. And so I was really just like focused on rapping really well and making songs that like were topical and meant something. I felt like there was like something missing
Definitely.
In the sense of like there was just like so much miscellaneous music coming from rappers. If you did make that type of music, it was super like they would just choose an aesthetically cool name and make random bars about like punchlines. And so I think but I think now I've like really been locked in. Me and Zuko's worked on this album for the past like almost a year, and like literally it's a lot more singing, it's a lot more falsettos, and like I'm really trying to figure out how to like interweave like really good rapping with like really catchy and soulful hooks and guitar and live instruments. And like I think there's a lot of more artistic consideration when it comes to like how we're crafting songs in an album. It's like very musical, and not to say that takes anything away from anything I've done in the past, but I think it's like the most musically advanced thing I've done, and it also super cohesive, and it's super like pushing boundaries in a lot of way when it comes to like genres, and at the same time it's like definitely still all in one box and fits.
For sure.
It's pretty dope.
I feel like
man. I mean, November 11th, Corduroy coming out. That's 4 days away now. So shout out. Yeah, bro. I'm really curious. I mean, all those kind of that what you just got into is a bunch of questions we had about the genre, about a little bit of what we saw in the single that you just dropped. In terms of that genre, a bit of a departure from your last album. But yeah, tell us generally about the album. Tell us about the inspo behind it. Like, what are you doing here?
Okay, so I basically met Zuko in high school, and we basically met up a while after I was working at the studio that he has worked at and kind of owns collectively with a bunch of dope producers, and we just started locking in. And I think that there was like this desire to make something that was like really funky and really like lush, and like the rapping had to be good, but it was also like this real desire to like make something musical, and like we wanted to put hooks on it and make it feel like really big. And then I think that topically it kind of evolved from there and became this thing about relationships to things. And it was cool because I could like make these songs, and it could maybe like feel like it was like specifically about a person, or like specifically about a habit, or like something in my life, like a relationship to something, and it could actually like apply to all of those things at the same time. And so it got like really fun to start like making these songs that were like, maybe this is about my relationship to weed, but it's also like totally applies to my girlfriend, and it totally applies to my friend, and it totally applies to my relationship with New York. And like it just became like this whirlwind of like relationship based music, but not always people. And that was like super dope because it was just like this wide topic. And from there, Corduroy is kind of representing this like soft textured thing that's like not as thick as denim. It doesn't wear and tear in the same way, and it can like be worn in and you wouldn't be able to tell. And it just like has all these kind of like nuances to it that feel like super genuine and super sick to put conceptually,
Yeah, and you're talking a bit at the end about fashion and Corduroy, your last album, Industrial Denim, obviously. Can you talk a little bit about like how fashion influences your music and how you decide on these names for your albums?
Honestly, it doesn't really influence it at all, because like I'm pretty much dressed the same the whole time. Like I've always wore bucket hats and beanies and like oversized hoodies and jeans and corduroy. Like it's not like I'm like wearing something different. I'm like all of a sudden rapping different. It's more like I'm like think that topically it lives its own life, and then it's like we get to assign these fabrics to like how it like sounds and feels musically and texturally, and like and kind of as we're making the music I get to assign a fabric and be like, yo, this really feels like corduroy. I don't know why, like
associating the corduroy with the sound that you're coming out
maybe
with.
I have like fashion synesthesia where it's like I'm just like fucking coming up with fabrics to associate them. I definitely don't think I'm going to do another fabric after this. I got a pretty distinct idea of the next direction, but I did feel like this was like a great segue, and even though like Industrial Denim was in a lot of ways like my debut album, I'm kind of like in a new situation, and I'm working with like a real solid team now, and so it's like feels like in a lot of ways like my big pop out, you know.
Yeah. And you talked about, you know, Fabric running this course. Tell us a bit about where you see your next project looking.
That shit is gonna be lush. It's gonna be like a little weirder. It's gonna be called Summer in October.
Summer in October, okay.
I've been like thinking about it for a really long time, longer than I've had this project.
Really?
Yeah, so like, but I don't know if I was musically there yet. I think I'm gonna like be playing a lot of keys on it, if I had to guess.
Really? So you play other instruments as well?
I mean, I've played piano since a kid, but I'm low-key like not that great, and so I'm just like locking in. I'm recently been like trying to lock in on it a little more, and I think that it's definitely gonna have a little more like, I'm gonna definitely go out to Tristan and Arlo and bring in some of Zuko's stuff, and it's definitely not gonna be one producer this time, which is not like necessarily super intentional. Like I'm always down to build a world with a producer, but it's definitely gonna be this culmination of like weird guitar, synthy. It's gonna have a lot more synths. There's gonna be, I think, more like falsettos and a little bit like the rapping is gonna be a little bit more traditional, I think, if I had to guess. So I'm gonna like try and figure out a way to like balance that. Whereas I think this is like not always traditional rapping at all. I feel like it's kind of lives in its own thing, and I think it's so awesome.
No, that's super awesome. And like, I was checking out the rollout for this recent album, and like, I saw like the clips that you were doing, like chapter 1 and chapter 2. They almost seem like personal, like diary entries, almost journal entries.
Tight.
And I just want to understand like where that inspiration came from, because I feel like it gave us like a very like personal dive into your life and into the album, into your music.
I mean, if I'm being like 100% real, I have some good friends in this group called What More. Shout out.
Shout out What More.
Those are some great dudes that I'm pretty good friends with, and I've always been like watching the way that they had been started to bring people into their worlds, and I didn't want to bite it at all, but I wanted to like, I was like, yo, this is like a great way to like really bring people into like your mind, and if we can do it in a way that's like visually unique and use my own voiceover, and I still feel like we're just like being creative with that and like figuring it out every second. Like me and JD literally finished this chapter 2 this not even this afternoon.
I just watched that shit today.
Right before it came out. So like, yeah, bro, like I think we're kind of taking that one. I definitely think that my story is like, I know what my story is. And I think as we are making the videos and as we're filming and being creative with it, I'm finding different ways to bring people into my world. And Yoshi and them definitely like were a little bit of an inspiration on like, oh shit, you can really kind of go beyond single frame vertical takes and music videos and like little like album trailers, and you can really make like a full length thing and people will respond to it.
Yep.
And
like
there's a lot of people, there's a lot of people doing dope shit. There's this artist, Gabriel Jacoby, who I really fuck with right now. Yeah. Tough. And he just like dropped this album trailer I thought was so dope. He did a long ass poem about him growing up like in the trenches in the South. But he makes like soulful, like super soulful music, like 80s, not like early 90s soulful, like feels like D'Angelo derived. And
rest in peace to him.
I'm like, yo, everyone is doing really cool things. I feel like everyone has to get a little more creative because it's just getting crazy out here on the internet.
Yeah, know? I mean, also shout out Yoshi T. Yoshi T was interviewed on Notes from Underground last year.
Facts.
What More as a group is really dope, and you know what they got going on, as you were saying, is innovative. I know you also are a part of like a similar collective, not in nature, but tell us a little bit about Blank Canvas.
I want to say Blank Canvas is on a hiatus.
Oh, okay. I apologize.
Nah, you good, bro. You know, those are all really good friends. We'll always, I think, be good friends, and a lot of us still make music together, and I think everyone just needs to like I think we all are just like figuring out our own shit, and everyone has really good albums that they're working on, and it's not really the time to like be putting all this energy into a collective when like nobody's on yet. And it's like there's literally like XV is one of my favorite artists, Dennis is one of my favorite artists, CJ is one of like, they need to get their shit up and going, and they need to build their name, and I need to build my name, and like everyone's figuring their shit out, you feel me?
Yeah, but they're still close homies. Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, bro, there's nothing like, it's super all love with them all the way.
I'm curious on this new album, shifting it back to the album, because I mean I'm excited. Everyone's excited. 4 days away.
I like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, kind of curious, right? You have this one other album that's out, that's like the big debut. How do you feel this fits into your like broader discography? And is there a shift in audience, or do you feel it's kind of the same audience that you're appealing to with this album?
It's a very interesting question. I feel like we're going for, like, obviously I got the kids in America and Europe and everywhere that I think are gonna like love the music and love the music that's to come. And I think we're trying to go, I'm not trying to wade in this, like micro influencer New York world forever. I'm trying to tour. I'm trying to really go across the country. I'm trying to go to Europe. I'm trying to go to Asia. I'm trying to see shit, bro. So definitely not gonna be the same like exact audience, but I want kids that love hip hop to love this album, and I also want kids that love any type of music to love this album. And I definitely am never gonna like depart from being a rapper, but I'm definitely introducing the concept of me being like a lot of things. And I think that like there's gonna be indie kids that like this album too.
Yeah.
They're gonna be kids that fucking like McGee or Malcolm Todd and are gonna listen to this album. I think there are also kids that love Earl Sweatshirt and Mac Miller that are gonna listen to this album, and I think they're, we're aiming big for sure.
As you should be.
Yeah.
I think to that effect too. I know we have you produce on the album, correct? Yeah. So I'm saying like
all of that.
I'm curious if you do want to speak, welcome too. But I'm curious, like, what were the practical differences? Like, were you recording a lot of live instruments? It seems like definitely on the. I can turn on this mic or this mic, Trevor.
Should work.
Got you, yes sir. You're live. You got headphones right next to you too, if you want to.
That's good.
But yeah, I'm curious, like, right? You have in Pardon, I Did It Again, a lot of that live, like, rock influence, that indie vibe that going on. Are we gonna see more of that? And like, what was the production process like? Can you give us a little insight?
So yeah, like it was like we basically, when we went into the project, actually I want this. When we went into the project, we made a bunch of rules, like not like hard set and fast rules, but we were like, okay, we want guitar on, like live guitar, like actual guitar on every song. We want like live bass on every song. Vocally, we wanted Andre to like hit a falsetto in like pretty much every song and shit. Like just kind of everyone that I've looked up to as like a producer growing up, like I peeped that they had these like kind of sonic rules and like guidelines for like their album and shit. And I felt like me as a producer, like I came up in like the underground scene, like producing for people like Tana and like Rich Amiri and shit. And like that's all on the computer, you know what I mean? Like, or at the very least like synths and shit. So like I think for me as a producer, I wanted to kind of step out that lane and kind of like have more live instruments. And like I had just heard Andre being like this like global artist that could like get on anything that wasn't just like a soul sample type of rap beat. Like he, like when we had went to high school together, and we had known each other and fucked with each other in high school, but like we separately like had found our own successes like on our own, like didn't really talk, and then like cross paths again. So like I kind of re-met Andre as like an artist, like because when I was 17 and he was 14 or 15, like folks wasn't doing that, you know what I mean? Like I was making beats and like producing for artists on SoundCloud, but it was different. So like when I re-met him and he was showing me mad like unreleased, like it was just this like, it was like this crazy falsetto shit that reminded me of like in like soul music that reminded me of shit my dad would play me back in the day, and then he would play me another song that reminded me of like a fucking Frank Ocean song, and I was just like, bro, like fuck whatever you like are currently making, like you have like this insane ability to like bend your voice and like play these like almost different characters within a song. Like I feel like bro, if you look at like a Kendrick Lamar, right? Like if you hear like a Kendrick song, like when I was in middle school, like Kendrick, I always thought was mad cool because he would rap in different voices. He would pitch his voice differently, and it would be like, and he would lean into it. You know what I mean? It would be like a character, and like it almost felt like Andre was kind of doing that effortlessly. So like to get to kind of bring in like live instruments and kind of force both of ourselves like out of this like normal box that we were in and kind of find this new sound and build a world out of it. Like it was just like the whole point of the album was like experimenting until we found something that to us felt perfect for the world we were trying to build, and it worked.
I don't even want to say that, like, I don't even want to say rules. Like, we came up with a concept for the album. Like, we were like, yo, we're gonna make like a rap indie album with live guitar, live bass on every song that's like gonna hit these marks, and like it's gonna be awesome. And we're gonna like pitch the voice down, and we're gonna pitch the voice up, and like we're just gonna like fuck around with this shit and be creative because it's fun. And like we were just like in a studio smoking weed for 8 months straight, just like
Oh god,
Love that.
just like almost every day, bro. So I don't want to say, like, honestly, the song that we just dropped, there's no rock vibe like that again on the album. Like that's kind of the rock vibe. Like that's a bigger, poppier song. And there's like the song we put out before that is a little funkier, and it has a stomp that doesn't appear anywhere else on the album. And
there's like a sonic unity to every song, but like we tried to like explore like genres almost within the song. Like there's some R&B songs, and then there are some songs that like feel like these like soul samples, but they're actually samples of other songs on the album and shit. And then we have like
but I don't even want to be like, yo, I do everything. Like I'm Drake. Like I'll do R&B. I'll do rap. Like not like we like it all lives in the same genre. It was just like it's cool because the process for making that song is exactly the same as for making this song Holding Out or Louis or like any of these other songs. Like the process was the same. Like we had guitar, we had live bass, we're programming some hard ass
Jamie,
facts.
like,
Shout out all the instrumentalists that worked on that album. Like they put in pain for us, and like it was awesome. And we had a similar process for a lot of the songs and ended up making like totally different songs for a lot of the songs. So we
made like over 40 songs, and we narrowed it down to like 14.
Wow.
It was and we really like we would spend, honestly, as insane as it sounds, but we really spent months on songs, like reworking verses, going back on shit, just like how do we like narrow this down and like make it like the most polished and like real, authentic like version that like represents this world we want and represents Andre's life like as it stood. And like his life also was progressing throughout the album too, and it became this like interesting thing where like like one of my favorite things like kind of every session was like Andre would walk in ranting about some shit going on in his life, whether it was like this or that or the other.
I'm a big complainer.
It's all right. I'm a big complainer as well. I get it. But like he would come in and he'd be ranting about some shit, and then like the words that we said in like the debrief on his life situations would end up becoming lyrics like that he's then rapping in the booth, you know? And then like so like when we started making the album, it became this kind of like talking about life as it had been. And now like we fast forwarded, you know, we're now 11 months past when we started, and it's like almost advice on how to like take on life that's like coming towards you. It's so like a lot of it just feels like metaphorical, and like it just feels like it can apply. Like there's a song for every mood that you could be in on the album.
Yeah, but it's definitely like its own world, and yeah, it's pretty great album.
Hope
y'all
y'all
should
enjoy.
listen to it for sure.
Corduroy coming soon, November 11th. That's 4 days away.
Facts.
Tune in all platforms, I imagine. Yes.
All platforms.
All platforms.
All of them. Audio Mac.
Everything.
Tidal. Pandora. Absolutely. That's a radio station, but
facts.
It's on there.
YouTube.
We appreciate y'all so much coming. Would y'all introduce yourselves one more time for the fans?
Andre Lawrence.
My name is Zuko.
Thank y'all so much for coming in. We're gonna transition into playing a little more of the album, then hop on some cypher freestyle beats. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank y'all very much.
In the back for real. Yeah. On the brink of a gold medal. I don't settle for nothing. You see the pedal. I'm pushing this shit as hot as a kettle. I got my